Well, believe it or not, we've made it to a year old, and we go right back to where we started with a day on the pigeons protecting crops. We also joined GMK for an open day they put on for dealers at the Courtlock Shooting Ground. But before all that, we take a look at how the ICTSF World Sporting Clays event went here in Ireland. Welcome to Fieldsports Ireland. This year, for the first time, over 1,100 shooters descended on the lands of Doyle in County Meath to pursue the dream of becoming a Sporting Clays world champion. The past 3 months, a small but dedicated team have been hard at work, turning this virgin ground into a world-class shooting venue, all under the watchful eye of Richard Foles. Shooters of all abilities were catered for during 4 days of competition in glorious Irish sunshine, and the event could not have been run to a higher standard. Everything from the trade village to the shooters' transport was top class. And this was capped off by targets that were fun, fair, exciting to shoot, but also worthy of a world-class event. The main event came down to a sudden death shoot-off after a thrilling semi and super final in front of several hundred people, with America's Derek Mine pipping England's Ross Straker to the prize. Well, what a fantastic event that was, and it was such a proud feeling to see such a world-class event run here in Ireland. And speaking to all the shooters from all over the world, they couldn't believe how well the event was run. And David Dillon, Peter Hanifin, Richard Foles, Anya Flynn and all their team should be so proud of what they've achieved. And I really hope we can get more events like that here in Ireland in the future. It absolutely was fantastic, and it'll be great for Irish shooting. And now we go to the Courtlock Shooting Ground where we join GMK for Dealer Open Day. Ireland's comparatively small shotgun market means that we often get somewhat ignored by UK distributors who supply guns here. Fortunately for Irish shooters, GMK are a company who treat the Irish market extremely well. GMK supply us with Beretta, Benelli and Franchi, and earlier this month they brought a selection of new and old models to the wonderful Courtlock Shooting Ground for an open day. This was attended by dealers, select customers and yours truly. Guns on test included established Beretta models like the DT11 and 692, along with the brand new 695 and SL3. A full range of Benelli and Franchi semi-autos were accompanied by variations of the fantastic Benelli 828U over and under. Open days like this require weeks of organisation and countless hours of paperwork to get the guns into Ireland. But GMK's Ireland account manager, Derek O'Neill, feels it's crucial for Irish dealers to have an up-to-date and hands-on knowledge of their guns.
We want any customers come in to feel totally confident in the GMK network, ask any questions that they can. We know the customers are far more educated just now. Obviously we have social media platforms, we have the internet, we have things like Fieldsports TV, which provide a lot of information, and it's really just keeping the dealers' level of knowledge at the same level as the customers.
For more information about GMK's range of guns and dealers who can supply them in Ireland, go to gmk.co.uk. Well, thanks to Courtlock for having us along, but a massive thanks goes out to GMK for organising that event. It's great to see a big UK distributor like that taking the Irish market seriously, bringing over staff, bringing over guns, spending the time to educate gun dealers in this country who can then pass that knowledge down the line to their customers. It's really heartening for me to see our small industry being treated so well, and a massive thanks goes to GMK and in particular Derek O'Neill for organising that. And now we find out how I got on my first day on the pigeons this summer. At last the sun has been shining and this crop has really come into its own. Last month while waiting, we showed you some of the secrets to our pigeon hide craft and how to make an irresistible landing spot for passing pigeons. You can watch that episode by using the card at the top of your screen or the link in the description. But back to the task at hand, and where we are setting up today is just below this tree that Stephen and I have been watching them sit in for the past few days while they strip large areas of our farmer's crop. However, just to the right of us, around 200 yards away, is a busy main road, so we'll have to make sure that we are not too keen with our left to right swing. Tall, standing crops like this make it tricky to set out the right decoy pattern, so we have opted for long bamboo poles and full body enforcer decoys to wobble around just above the top of the crop. In the large flattened areas they have already damaged, we are going to put out some shell decoys, and lastly, right on the top of the brow, Stephen has put out a Mark II enforcer flying pigeon to look like it's a pigeon coming into land. Let's take a quick look at my setup and gun and shell combo. Trying to keep the footprint as small as possible, but still have room for two of us. Stephen will sit on this side with the camera. This is my spot. Today we have the wonderful Benelli Montefeltro Comfort. Really like this semi-auto. Nicest one I've ever used. And we're on Game Board Pigeon Extreme. Heavy shell for pigeons, but when I'm shooting standing corn like this, it can be very hard to get pigeons in under 30 yards. So because I'd assessed this ground before we came, it looked like a lot of the birds were going to be at decent range. You can see out to that flat patch there is 50 yards, and the main flight line was along those wires, which is a good sort of 65-70 yards away. So it's going to be difficult to get the birds into a close range. So I said I'd shell up and go for the Pigeon Extreme. These things are absolutely awesome. You'd actually swear those crows knew we were here and knew the angles we couldn't shoot. They came straight up from the road within 20 yards of us, swung around the back of the tree and then flew out towards the house that's 300 yards away and just gave me no angle. But luckily, just as I was watching them, there was one that wheeled in front and I managed to take him, but should have been on for a double or a treble there really. But you just, when you're shooting in these sort of areas, you need to be where the birds are, but you also need to be very aware of your surroundings and the angles you can and can't shoot. Well, that's not been a bad start. In just under an hour we've shot probably a dozen crows and 5 or 6 pigeons. Pigeons have been slow to come. When I've been watching this during the week, it was in the afternoon when I'd finished work and there was a lot of pigeons on it, and typically it can happen that pigeons only really start moving in the afternoon. So if they haven't really taken off by midday, I might stay a couple of hours longer, just see what we've got by then. But the wind has changed right round now, so Stephen's just gone out to move the floaters. And yeah, birds just didn't come back to this field as much. They've actually moved to a field across the main road, and there's no flat patches down there, but they've started going in probably on tram lines. So we'll stick it out. Hasn't been as hot as I'd hoped, but still getting some nice shooting. Got a couple of nice high pigeons and got a grey crow as well, so that's always a bonus. So this is a prime example of the damage pigeons and crows do. They get into a small area, usually on a tram line, and they start pulling all the standing crop down. And they'll just go around the edge, jump up, pull them down. You can see where pull them down, break them off usually, and then eat them. And if you've got 200 or 300 pigeons in an area like this, they can very quickly turn a flat patch like this into half an acre or more. And this is completely ruined now. It won't ripen properly and it'll never be harvested, so it's lost. So light breeze here, they just give a nice bit of movement. If you ever watch pigeons feeding in an area like this, they're never standing still, they're always moving around, jumping up and down, pulling corn down. Well, that's me finished for day one on the pigeons of this summer, and really enjoyable couple of hours. Shot just under 3 hours really, mostly crows for the first hour, and then when the breeze picked up and the crows moved off, pigeons started to come quite nicely. Great selection of shots, great variety. Had probably 25 pigeons, about the same in crows. 6 or 7 of those were grey crows, so they're always good to catch up with. But just all sorts of shots. When the wind picked up, birds got tricky. They were high and fast. There was all variety of shots and just fantastic sport. And we've managed to keep them away from here. Saw a big flight line open up heading south from here across the main road. So the birds have obviously moved on to that area. So we'll try to catch up with them next week. But no, it's been a fantastic day's sport. We've still quite a bit of picking up left to do. As you can see, Toby's well tired already, so I'm just going to give him a break for 10 minutes, let him have a drink, let him catch his breath, and then continue picking up. And as I say, these pigeons, I'll get them home. I'll probably get them breasted today, and they'll be going straight in my freezer. Well, what a fantastic day that was. It was so good to be back out shooting over decoys and helping the farmer protect his crops as well. Now, as I said, this episode is our first birthday. So I just want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for all the views, all the likes, all the positive comments, all the interaction in the last year. It's really blown me away, the support. But I want to thank the Fieldsports Britain guys as well. They've been instrumental in making this a success. But also the brands. We've had a lot of brands came on board right from the start, and we just couldn't produce these films without them. And they really took a gamble on Fieldsports Ireland. But they shared my passion that we had Fieldsports here worth showing off. So a massive thanks goes to all of them. They know who they are. I'm not going to list them all out, but we couldn't have done this without them. And it's something people often don't understand about these films that we make. They cost a lot of money to make, they cost a lot of time, and we rely on the brands to support that and to help us out with the production costs. So without them, we just couldn't do these and we couldn't create these films. So a massive thanks to them. Big thanks goes to all my Irish friends here who've helped me, in particular Stephen. Stephen and I have hunted together since we're kids. And it might just interest you to know our episode that had the highest number of views didn't feature me at all. It was episode 10 with Stephen shooting foxes and rabbits. So you all seem to like Stephen more than me. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me for a little bit longer, but you will see lots more of Stephen coming soon. But as always, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.